Those are keys to my building. Why do you have my building's keys at a train station?
Because this is where I give them back to you, with some conditions.
The eviction notice had been slipped under my door at 6 in the morning, which felt like a deliberate choice. Nobody delivers good news at 6 in the morning. Good news arrives at reasonable hours, when you are caffeinated and prepared. Bad news, the kind that requires you to sit on the edge of your bed for several minutes doing nothing, arrives early before your defenses are up, while the light is still gray and the city is still deciding whether to be alive yet. I was Jace Calloway, 30 years old, freelance infrastructure consultant, which was a title that sounded more stable than it was. I had been living in the Meridian District for 2 years, one of the integrated neighborhoods that had sprung up across the city after the Accord, where human and alien residents shared streets and buildings and, occasionally, opinions about the temperature settings in shared corridors. My landlord for those 2 years had been a property management company, an abstract entity, letterhead and late fees. That had changed 4 months ago when the building was sold. The new owner had introduced herself via a formal letter that arrived the same week as the sale notice. Her name was Naia-Vel. She was Cerulian. She was, the letter specified, conducting a full review of all existing tenancies and would be in contact regarding lease renewals. I had not heard from her since. I had assumed this meant everything was fine. The eviction notice suggested my assumption had been optimistic. The notice was not, I discovered on closer reading, a standard eviction. It was a review termination, a Cerulian legal instrument that, according to the footnote that referenced the interspecies tenancy accord of last year, meant that the tenancy was under active assessment and the current terms were suspended pending a direct conversation with the property owner. Conversation. Not an eviction. Conversation. I called the number at the bottom of the notice. She answered on the second ring. "Mr. Calloway," she said. Her standard was excellent. Fluid, with the slight musical quality that Cerulean vocal structures gave to human languages. "I was expecting your call. Are you available to meet this morning?" "I have," I said. "Very little else going on." She had chosen the transit hub at Meridian Central, which I thought was an interesting choice for a conversation about housing until I arrived and understood it immediately. It was neutral territory. Neither her space nor mine. A place that belonged equally to everyone and no one, bright and open and impossible to feel cornered in. She was waiting at the platform edge when I arrived. The keys were already in her hand. Not offered yet. Just present. 3 of them, on a plain brass ring, held loosely between her silver-gloved fingers like she had been carrying them for a while and had decided this was a reasonable time to produce them. She smiled when she saw me. It was a genuine smile. Not diplomatic, not performed. The kind that arrives before the person has decided to deploy it. "Mr. Calloway," she said. "Ms. Vel," I said. "I'd like to start by saying that I've been a good tenant." "You have," she agreed immediately. "No complaints from neighbors. No property damage. Utilities paid on time even when the rent was delayed. I know your record." Then the notice. "Is not what you think it is," she said. She held up the keys slightly. "May I explain?" The explanation took 20 minutes and required us to walk the length of the platform twice, which I suspected was deliberate. Movement made difficult conversations easier, and Naia-Vel struck me, within the first 5 minutes, as someone who thought carefully about the conditions she created around important discussions. The building, she explained, was the first property she had purchased on this world. She had bought it because the Meridian District was exactly what she had hoped to find. Genuinely integrated, functional, evolving. She had no intention of clearing the existing tenants. She had every intention of improving the building significantly, and she needed someone who understood both the physical infrastructure and the human side of tenant relations to manage the renovation process and ongoing building operations. A building manager, I said. With a modified tenancy, she said. Reduced rent in exchange for 10 hours of building management work per week. The renovation oversight would be a separate contracted role, paid at standard infrastructure consultant rates. Process this. You reviewed my professional background, I said. Before I purchased the building, she said. I review all my tenants. It is how I decide which buildings to buy. You bought a building because of its tenants. I bought a building, she said, because it had the right combination of people in it. A building is its residence. The structure is just the container. We had stopped walking. We were standing at the far end of the platform, where the transit hub's glass roof let in a column of bright morning light that made everything look slightly more significant than it probably was. She was still holding the keys. The 3 keys, I said. What are they for? The building front door, she said, holding up one. The maintenance level. The second. And the roof garden, which is currently locked because the previous management company lost the only copy of that key and I had a new one cut this morning. Third. There's a roof garden. There will be, she said. Currently it is a roof with some dead plants and considerable potential. She tilted her head slightly. You would be responsible for its revival as part of the building management scope. I understand you have some background in urban green space from your infrastructure work. I looked at the keys. At the bright station around us. At the completely unexpected direction this morning had taken from its 6 a.m. starting point. What happens if I say no? Yes. Then I advertise the building manager position externally, she said. Your tenancy reverts to standard terms, which means a rent increase of approximately 20% in line with the current district market. That's the part one can't afford, I said. I know, she said. I told you, I reviewed your file. Is this a negotiation? Yes. Or have you already decided how this ends? She considered the question with the specific thoughtfulness of someone who does not give careless answers. I have a preferred outcome, she said. But I am genuinely open to the conversation. Those are not the same thing.